thinking about what would be interesting to tell you, like how that went down that way. It was really interesting because I watched Pluto TV, because they have all those news channels and stuff. And
Right.
as much as I don't ascribe to mainstream media and stuff,
Same
uh,
here.
I was just bouncing around, and looking at all the channels, and there's like five news uh, channels. And the first one was about the lockdowns that
Mm-hmm.
happened they started in California. That was the very first place
Right.
in
Yes.
Alameda County, and I happened to be living there. Okay,
Oh,
in Alameda County, I was living in Union City,
okay.
uh, and so I'm watching the TV, and here comes on the Alameda County Sheriff talking head spokeslady person,
Mm.
PR lady, with a little uniform on and stuff.
Okay.
She says, da about this, they said it was going to be 8 days long.
Mm.
We actually, we pushed this spring break for our the elementary school I was working towards that time. Anyway,
Right.
she comes on, somebody says, she goes, and this might be the new normal.
Oh.
And I said, oh, fuck, no way. What do you mean? Like, what you got? It was the whole thing, shelter in place.
Mm.
Like, shelter in place for a flu. That's what we use as teachers. We use shelter in place as an active school shooter. Yeah.
Oh. Oh. Wow.
So we're like, what?
Oh.
What is this? It just didn't add up. And we're going, And so
Mm-hmm.
she says the new normal. I was like, okay, I was already sick of that. So I
Okay.
switched it over to the next one. But when that spot about 20 minutes or so, and 5 news stations, I
Okay.
heard the new normal. This might be the new normal. Like that was many times, and wait a minute,
Okay.
wait a minute. And so I started thinking about what I know,
Mm-hmm.
little military, little street, a little
Yeah.
this, a little that. And
Okay.
so it came to me that this is a push for the more control, social control, to
Mm-hmm.
usher in the one world government.
Yes.
Known as the New World Order.
Yes.
And a little bit of my background it's back all the way to probably about 90.
Mm-hmm.
I was involved in what people say conspiracy theory, which people find out is not conspiracy theory. I wish it was. I wish I was wrong. I sometimes hate being right, but that kind of stuff. I got involved with that, and I was
Okay.
actually I joined with a local militia called the Minutemen.
Metaman.
Now I'm a Minute Maid.
Okay.
So, anyways, I'd always been
Right.
suspicious of the government. Okay, you know,
Right.
Vietnam. I forget it was like
Mm.
a Woodstock or Monterey Pop. Someone, I have terrible at names. My parents taught me to forget them.
Yeah.
It and it's like this guy said, "Blind faith in your government will get you killed." When I was a kid, I was like, "Whoa." That's
Wow.
like, you're supposed to believe in your government, but hey, I was back then the TV was live when JFK was shot. I witnessed that.
Yes.
I
Right.
witnessed all this stuff, the civil rights
Mm-hmm.
movement, that whole thing. So I did have a little, reason to suspect my government,
Right.
probably trust my neighbors more than my government. Anyway, right?
Yes, I hear you because in today's information age, especially with social media and everything, a lot of things comes out from the surface, right? Like you
Um,
mentioned JFK, or even back then when
yeah.
Nixon, Watergate, and then took the dollar off the gold standard. I believe that's all the agenda they start from all the way back then.
Oh, yeah. It's just, the government's they've been at it for a long time. I mean,
Mhm.
people have been so dumb. I'm an educator.
Right.
The very first thing I went to school, I was 26.
Okay.
I already had a career. I was a carpenter.
Mm.
Carpenter, it was a career, but anyways, so
Right.
I've been in the workforce for like 9 years, and here I'm going to college. for this
Okay.
stuff. And I just kind of the very first paper I wrote for freshman English. It was the decline of the American public education system. Because I
When
went to school to be a teacher.
when did you wrote that? What
When?
year? Yeah. Is it like in the 90s?
No, 80,
80s? Wow,
graduate,
that's back.
86.
86. Wow, that's
Yeah.
way back. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, so well, like I mentioned, because a lot, including myself, a lot of information wasn't on the surface until
Oh, right. Well,
internet and social media.
it got kind of dug up and
Yeah.
rehashed and revisited, like,
Hmm.
what happened. But that's also like sometimes I have discussions like this, so be careful. Just grab me. So, Michelle, I'll be like,
Okay.
what was I talking about? Oh, hey.
You're talking about the art, the writing you wrote,
Yeah, so
the
that paper,
American. What's the title again?
the one in the on Medium, but
No,
it's
the one you
the
wrote on
decline of the
19.
American public education system.
Yeah.
And I started researching this stuff because I
Hmm.
don't know why. Because I think I thought, oh, if I have student loans, I'm never going to pay them back. The government owes me education.
Hey, they
Screw
have
'em.
a forgiven program right now.
You have to pay payments for 10 years in a row. Be perfect.
Okay.
There's always something, right? Sounds so good. Hey, forgive my $85,000. So yeah, so getting back
Mm,
to that, I researched that kind of stuff, and I realized my schools, my government,
mm,
it all started coming together when I went to college. Because you focus on thinking, and I took
right.
critical thinking and
Critical
all this stuff
thinking.
and logic, and
Yeah.
I was like took my brain out and played with it. It was just so fun. But all of a sudden it started gelling about this. So all
Okay.
that background came to this announcement on um, these different news MSM
Right.
stations. And so that really triggered all that background of living and watching JFK, I watched the Vietnam War,
Mm,
actually trying to join the military while Vietnam was still engaged,
mm.
officially anyways, and they pull out supposedly at 76. And I went in 76 right after that.
Okay.
So, anyways, so I wrote this piece in Medium,
Right.
and it just, when I write, a lot of times that's where you'll see a real sporadic, because it's more like inspired. Sometimes
Hmm.
it's poetry, sometimes it's like I just need to speak about it, and
Yes.
that article and the one I revisited, I was so proud of them. At first, they were there, they were out, and then when after right around 21, they started rolling out the bioweapon they tried to call vaccine.
Mm.
They start both those pieces were censored, and
Okay.
they're 410 or 401 or
Hmm.
this article's under investigation. I was like, yes, that's
Okay.
how you hit it. You got something about it. So,
Okay. So like with COVID, they did have like similar, agenda, and then I just recently read Bill Gates is behind it. Did you heard
well,
of that?
Bill Gates, yeah, he's got behind the. See, they knew this stuff. They had a tabletop exercise.
Mm,
I think it's called C20 or C21 or something like that.
mm-hmm.
Anyways, I'm terrible with all those names sometimes.
It's okay.
But they did a tabletop exercise exactly like how this whole thing with the scamdemic went down.
Mm-hmm.
They said, we planned it all out. They give certain groups, they make it into groups, and then they all go and confer and debrief, and then they come with their findings for each piece, and that's exactly how it went down.
Okay.
And then with Gates, though, he's been on record. I mean, you've got to go on, and you can find this stuff. You put in Bill Gates and
Mm-hmm.
Wuhan lab. Well, they gave about, I think it was 2018. They gave almost about a $500,000 to the Wuhan University.
Wow.
Okay, so but Bill Gates, he's invested in like so many smart investors in groups and companies like Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, that whole thing, all the people that produce vaccines.
Yeah,
Uh,
and he also has some sort of I say lab tests in Africa. Have you heard of that?
yes, for a
They
long time, yeah,
Yeah,
because
for a long time.
with Ebola, with malaria, because see what it is,
Ebola,
the,
yeah, back then.
these vaccines, all right, and
Mhm.
I was vaccinated for a couple things, and I survived. And when I went in the military, I don't know what they vaccinated you with everything. It was
Mm.
one guy inside that shoots it in your arm, and there's a big green bottle of it. It was, we walk down this line. There's an orderly on each side with this thing. It's air. It shoots in. It's with air.
Yeah.
You know that. And there's a big green bottle of like a clear bottle,
Okay.
getting stuff into powder, and
Uh-huh.
so all that stuff. But my kids, I didn't have them immunized.
Right.
I told the schools to go
Okay.
find something.
And and then and then also because the whole purpose of doing all this is the agenda is to promote depopulation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then a lot
That's
of
population. Yeah.
organizations just
Oh
besides
my God.
Bill
Yeah. You
Gates.
look up the World Economic Forum and Davos and how this stuff and what they say,
Hmm.
openly say.
Yeah.
The whole thing with the global warming. That's another bunch of crap.
Mm.
Electric cars, getting rid of cattle and farms. I mean, this stuff's going off. Like, I sent you that link, right? With
Yeah.
truth11.com. That's truth11.com. And a lot of, I was raised to not believe anything I hear and half of what I see. So I'm
Mm.
I'm a skeptic of skeptics. But I mean, I'm smart enough to know what it is. I've been that's one thing that with my advanced age now. It's
Right.
way further than I ever thought I'd make it.
Right.
Seriously.
Okay. Yes.
But I mean, it's just like you pay attention and you have, some smarts and it all goes like little pieces of Velcro stick to your brain and all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, and see the pattern and see what's
Yeah.
going on. And depopulation, but um, a lot of it is of course, with these bazillionaires and wherever they are now,
The,
trillionaires.
the elites, I call it, right? The
I
elites.
call them the 1% scumbags. The elite. Ugh,
Okay.
they will
So,
never get by. It's such like, like some sci-fi movie, kind of like
mm.
the mini-me and shit. You know what I mean? Like what the World Economic for that guy Klaus Schwab, Klaus,
Mhm.
this Klaus,